Hi, I'm Murray Feldman, speaking with Michelle Singletary, national syndicated financial columnist, author, Color of Money, many other titles. What is the most important thing that people should be thinking as they get older in life and have to put their finances together for when they're not around?
Well, you know, retirement savings is the huge thing. It used to be that they talked about this three-legged stool, right? You know, Social Security, pension, and your personal savings. Well, we know what's been happening with pensions, and who knows what's going to be happening with Social Security. So really, that stool has got one leg, you know? And so it's so important that people plan for what they're going to do when they retire and how they're going to pay for it. Healthcare, housing, and it doesn't matter where you are, whether you're 20 or 50, you still have to plan, you still have to figure out, how am I going to live when I can't work anymore?
And so many people are really not in touch with their finances. They have to get a handle on what they have, on where they are.
Right.
What's the best tip for doing that quickly?
So, you know, the thing about it is you got to have goals, right? I mean, the thing is people can't save because they don't see down the future. It's always about now. And I always tell people the way that you can get a handle on it is just state clearly what you want to do. Do you want to work till you're 90 or 100? You know, I don't. You know, I want to travel, you know, and exactly, if you want to send your kids to college and you want to make sure they don't have debt. So state that clearly and put it on a note card. Put it somewhere where you can clearly see it. Attach it to your credit card. So when you pull it out, you know, I really need to be saving for retirement rather than using this card to buy whatever.
You mentioned college education and saving for that, and 44% of America's parents say their biggest regret is that they haven't saved for college education, or they haven't saved enough for it. What's the best way to start to do that?
Well, you know, my husband and I started saving for our children to go to college when they were wee little people. We have 3 children, and it was just about the time that the 529 plan came out. And basically, that's just a tax advantage way to save for college. You put money in, and as it grows, that money is not taxed when you pull it out, and you pay it for pay for college expenses. And so if you can, if I'm talking to people who are just starting out, got little babies, or they're 3 or 4 or 5, please save whatever you can in this plan. We were able to send all 3 of our children, or are sending all 3 of our children to college debt-free. They don't have loans and we don't have loans, including graduate school. Now we have regular jobs. I mean, I'm not a multi-millionaire, neither is my husband, but we just did it consistently over 18 to 20 years, and just consistently putting money every month, letting it grow, compound interest, which is like, I'm in love with compound interest. My husband I'm in love with, and secondly, compound interest. You know? And that's what, now if you're further down the road and you haven't saved, well, don't panic, but your kid's not going to be able to have the college experience that a lot of people think of, you know, go away, stay in dorms, that kind of thing. You got to manage their expectations and your expectations. Maybe they go to community college for 2 years and then transfer to the 4-year university, or they commute rather than live on campus. About half of what you pay for college is room and board, and people are borrowing for that. And think about that. Would you ever tell someone to borrow to pay their monthly rent? Of course not. Of course not. But that's what we're telling people to do when we send our kids to college and let them live on campus.
And so many young people get into college and they choose that major and they take courses for that major, and then they realize they don't want that major anymore. That extends the years they're going to be in college.
That's right.
So many people have told me from the college level, university level, the people who work there, don't pick a major immediately. Take the courses you're going to need that will transfer to your major, and wait, because you might change your mind on that.
That's great advice. When we went to the orientations for our first daughter, I was shocked that they said that most kids change their majors like at least 3 times before they graduate. And now, you know, people are in college 6 and 7 years. And so that's why community college is a great way. You get all those, you know, requirements out of the way, and then you can concentrate on your major. And, you know, we actually help our kids manage their college career. We look at the courses that they take. We're very involved. Now, some people might say we're helicopter parents. I'm saying, I don't care. I'm a helicopter parent.
You deserve it. You've earned it.
You know what? This is my money, and I want to help make sure that they graduate in 4 years, 5 years for my son, because my son has autism, so we're giving him a little more time. But they've got 4 years. We told them, the girls, 4 years, and my son 5 years. So you got to get it done. And so we work as a team to make sure they're taking the courses they need and they're on track.
All right, so you get out of college, you get that job, Michelle, and then you have a question. Should I pay down those college debts, or should I start saving for retirement?
Initially, for the younger folks, and I know that, there's some financial experts that are probably going to write and like just yell at me, but I think that they should not do retirement in those early years. They should get rid of that college debt right away. And by doing that, they can start their life off without having spending, 20, 30 years paying off that debt. And so how do you do that? If you live close to home, go back home and live with your parents, negotiate with them that you don't pay rent. And if you took your salary for 2 or 3 years, 4 maybe, you can knock out that debt. If you take almost all of your salary, so you can't be going out with your friends and things like that, and you throw it at the debt. If you don't live near your parents, find some relatives, live with 10 roommates, spend a couple years doing that. But then as soon as you do that, you get into there and you start saving for retirement, because the best thing that young folks have in their favor is time. They don't necessarily have to pick the right stock or even the right fund. Of course, diversify, do good, retirement planning, but it's time. That's the thing that they have that we older, or me, don't have.
Me. That's true, and that's why you don't want to begin saving for retirement when you're about ready to go into retirement,
right.
as certain people who have told us on
Right.
Easy Money. Debt Dash is a product that you have been talking about, that you promote, and it really goes against some conventional old wisdom.
Yeah.
We used to be thinking, Michelle, that if I want to get rid of all these credit cards and all this debt that I have, what I should do is start paying off the credit card with the highest interest rate first. And you're saying no, Debt Dash.
So the debt dash is, you think about a 100-yard dash, right? They start out and they're there, right away. The thing about debt is so consuming to folks that when you aren't able to pay off something really quickly, you get discouraged. And so the debt dash is, you start with the debt with the smallest balance, and you list your debts smallest to the largest. You attack that first debt, pay the minimum on all the rest, and once you get that debt off, you move to the next one. When you do that, you're able to knock off a lot of debts quickly, and psychologically that encourages people so that they actually speed up paying off debt, and you don't end up actually paying any much more in interest payments because you've gotten the debt rid of quicker. And so, the thing is, and I know people like, no, that makes no math sense. What is this woman talking about? She's crazy. But the fact of the matter is, people are in debt. They didn't use logic. If you were logical, you wouldn't be in debt. So now we want to use logic to solve a problem that started with people being illogical, right? We shouldn't be in all this debt. We shouldn't have all this car loan debt. We shouldn't have all this student loan debt. So now you're going to say, oh, well, let's be logical about it. No, let's use some psychology to help people get out of debt. And my husband and I run a ministry out of church, and we've done this for years. And I'm telling you, time after time after time, it works. People get those little debts out of the way, and I go, whoa. I can do this, I can be free. And as they knock that off and that list shrinks, it empowers them. And I find that it's effective. But whatever method you choose, just start and use some method. But I personally think the debt dash works, and we've seen it work in practice.
All right, so how about not accumulating that debt? It means you have to have discipline, and it means that you have to do some things along the way. One of the things that you have tried, and it worked very successfully in your church, is the 21-day financial fast.
Yeah. It's a crazy thing. It is like you spend 21 days and you can't spend on anything that is not a necessity. So you can't go out to eat, can't go to the movies, can't get your hair done or cut, and you can't go to the mall. You don't do anything that is not a necessity. So you you pay your bills normally. Someone asked me, do you pay your rent or mortgage? I was thinking, that's kind of crazy. Why would I create something that you didn't, you're going to put out on the street? But no, you pay all your bills, pay your credit card debt. You just don't, you get rid of all of the extras. You shut everything down, because we don't realize how much money we spend unconsciously. We're always, oh, I'm going to pick up something here, I'm going to go do that. And you shut it all down. And you can't use credit or debit card.
You got to put them away.
Put them away. Because studies show that when you use plastic, debit or credit, you spend more than you have cash. And people, they challenged me on this. I said, okay, let's say you went to the grocery store with your debit card and you had $50 in your bank account. You can, but you were only going to spend $20. You can spend that $50 because you've got your debit card. But if you've got a $20 bill, you can't spend more than that $20 bill. And it forces you to really think about what you're buying. And that's what this fast is. Now, can you get out of debt in 21 days? Absolutely not. But it will set you on the path to start to think about what you're doing with the money. The companion is my book, The 21-Day Financial Fast. And so every day for 21 days, there's a different lesson about money, kids and money, and love and money, and retirement, and why do you spend? I mean, the money problems really isn't about money a lot of times, you know? A lot of times it's a lot of things that people are going through. You know, maybe you grew up poor, and so now you have some money, and you want to live better than when you were a kid. Or, you know, parents overindulging their kids because maybe you didn't have. So you don't want your kid to go without. Personally, I want my kids to suffer. And not just suffer because I want them to know what it is to be without. You know, we give them everything. What do they look forward to? And then they get out, they don't have access to your money, but they've lived like they have. And so now as young adults, they're trying to emulate what you did for them as a child, and that's not going to help them. And so the fast, it's really a psychological journey for 21 days because, you know, you and I work very hard. I know those folks on TV, you know, you work really hard. You've got a whole crew. Everybody's working to put this product together. At the end of the day, and I like to say, when I close my eyes for the last time, I want to look back and know that my hard work meant something, that it wasn't a TV or a car, but I sent all three of my kids to school debt-free. And so then they can save and send their kids to school debt-free. Or I gave to my church. My husband and I tithe, which means we give 10% of our income, gross, right off the top. I want to know, and that money is used to help with soup kitchens and help people in the community. That's what we should be doing with our money, right? You need to ask yourself this question. I'm working so hard for what? And it can't be the stuff, right?
You know what? You are helping not only your family, not only your church, not only your community, you're helping everybody who reads you, everybody who follows you, everybody who looks at all of those YouTube videos that you have. You have so much to be proud of. And when you look back, I mean, you'll be able to say how many people you help. You won't be able to see the number, but you'll be able to say it's a huge number out there. And when you think of how much that means in dollars and cents to people that wouldn't have had not been for you.
I hope so. I really do. I think all of us should take a step and say, what can I do to make this world a better place? And my thing is money. I mean, I didn't come from money, and I know what it's like not to have. I know what it's like to have now. And I just want people to have that sense of freedom, that when the phone rings, you aren't cringing because it's a bill collector. Or when your kid walks across the stage and gets that diploma, you're like, man, I sent them to school without any debt. And they don't have to come back to my house.
Not to mention the fact that they get a start on their life without that debt, which means that they can probably afford to put some money down for a house, which so many young people cannot do. They can probably afford to buy some wheels so they can get to work or wherever they have to go or whatever kind of transportation they need. And they can start saving for retirement.
Right.
Wow, which is where we began talking today.
That's exactly right. And the most important thing is to give. You know, you work for public television. You know, you guys need folks to have extra money to give. And you won't have to beg so much. You know, people get, you know, I'm going to do this every year because it's in my budget. Because giving has got to be an important part of this conversation. It can't just be about you. You can't just make money just for your little household. It has to be your household and your extended relatives and your community and giving to programs and things that will help other people. It can't just be about you. If it's about you, then we've lost, right? We can't do this. And the only way to do that is to look at what you're making, save as much as you can, live below your means. As soon as you can, think about retirement, get rid of that debt, and then hate debt. Like I tell people, I hate debt. If debt was a person, I would slap it. So I want people
You
to
do slap it.
I
You do slap it.
I want you to hate it with such a passion that whenever you go to get into debt, you know, and I know that people use debt to get a car, to get to work, to get a home, but when you do, you go, maybe instead of getting that Lexus, I'm gonna get a Ford Focus, you know? Or maybe instead of sending my kid to the branding school, I'll send them to the local state school, because you know what, we all end up working at the same place, and guess what, we all went to all kinds of different colleges, and we all end up at the exact same place. I work at the Washington Post, and the person sitting across from me went to Harvard. I went to a state school. Guess what? We both were at the Washington Post and doing well. And that's the message you have to tell folks. Do what's within your means. And if you don't have with someone else, that's okay. That's your life, right? Just do what you can with the money that you have. My grandmother used to say to me, it's not how much money you make that that makes the difference. It's how well you use with what you have. And that's the important thing.
Michelle Singletary, thank you so much for
You're
being with us
welcome.
today. For more information on financial education, I hope you'll visit wi65.org.